Thank you for spending your Thursday night, 6 days at the Legion with us. My name is Sarah. I work for CAPOW. Woohoo! Email me anytime, info@capow.ca. You need an AST course, call me. State of the Snowpack is a community conversation. Our aim is just to educate recreationalists about what's happening in the snowpack. And we're here in Revelstoke. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, so we're on the territorial lands of the Sinixt, and there are 3 other nations that call this place home: the Silts, the Tanaha, and the Secwepemc nations. And we are really stoked to just kind of share knowledge the way Indigenous people shared knowledge, orally, non-scientifically, in a informal setting where we can all like have a beer. I'm gonna give out pizzas, only 4. Everyone gets 1 slice or half a slice, and then
1 bite.
Yeah, 1 bite. Share it. It's friendship. But yeah, stoked to share knowledge the way the Indigenous people did, and we're gonna kind of carry on that tradition of stewarding the land the way people did before us, before we were here. And what is State of the Snowpack? It's a community conversation. It's bold to say saving lives in the backcountry, but we're just hoping to educate people about the backcountry. So we're going to decrease backcountry avalanche incidents, hopefully, at the Snowpack event. And we're going to share some information gathered from local guides, local forecasters, and share that with everyone so that we can make it home safe every night. Disclaimer.
Disclaimed.
Disclaimed. All right. Tonight we've got a rad lineup of 2 really, really special people. First up, we've got, second, we've got Dan Kilbert, great guy, pro patroller at RMR, knows how to blow stuff up. He's going to talk about accessing the backcountry there. And we have the most special person in the room to me. I don't know, I just said that. It's not real. No, he's great. Kate's my number 1. Marty, my boss at CAPOW Guiding. Welcome to the stage. He was, at the time, the youngest ACMG guide ever to get his certificate. We run a guiding company together. It's really great. It's our 10-year anniversary now. And welcome to the stage, Marty Schaefer. Tell us about the Snowpack.
Thanks a lot, Sarah. And you guys, thanks so much for showing up. We were laughing because we're like, we think 5 people are going to show up tonight. So props to you guys all for coming out. I grew up in the Rockies. My dad is a ski guide. He started a lodge just southwest here, Blanket Chalet. Been involved in the guiding industry my whole life. But what I found growing up was like the best mentorship I actually had was probably just having a beer with a couple of my mentors. Because out in the field, it's hard to get information. I find the parking lot can be intimidating as hell, especially Rogers Pass. So we thought this was like such a cool venue to grab a beer, talk to some mentors, and then bring the community together. So way better that there's more than 5 people here. So props for showing up, y'all.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to bear with me a little bit. I haven't been in the snow, but our whole guiding team has been. There's a few guides that are here. There's a few practicums that are here with CAPOW, and I know a lot of you guys have a lot of experience. A couple mountain guides in the room. My goal is to be the facilitator of the conversation as we're going through this. Luckily, I guess it's not that complicated out there, but there's a few topics we can touch on. But guys, the flow tonight, I'm going to talk about the snowpack, vibes that's going on out there, and then Dan, Pro Patroller, is going to talk about just accessing the backcountry. And then I thought it'd be cool to end the night with a few case studies, a few avalanches I've been involved in with similar snowpack characteristics. But I am going to look to you guys if you have some information, especially with most recent snowpack observations. Anyone here totally new this year to backcountry skiing in Revelstoke? Show of hands. Yeah. Well, I started with the chart. It's below average. Did you hear that already? Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, you know that? So I don't have, advertising, I don't have to blow, but has it been pretty good out there, you guys?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I've been traveling around, we just actually came back from the States, and based on observations in North America, it's actually the best here. In Colorado, they've got like this much snow. That really sucks. We have this much snow.
Yeah.
We actually have the equivalent of what Colorado gets in a good year, so we're doing great. And have some of you guys actually been getting after it? Have you been skiing big lines so far? Yeah. It's actually been a good time to get after some bigger stuff. Thanks, Dan. Dan's been skiing some big lines.
You guys know.
Oh, you know what? I brought this up. There's no way most of you guys are going to see this. Can you see this like small little line way at the bottom here? This represents this year's snowpack compared to average. You can't see the gray average, but we are below the average. We know that already. So let's talk a little bit about what's happened so far this year. Not only have we been getting less snow, it's also been seasonably warm. So if you're coming from Squamish or the coast, where it's raining, it's a little bit better out here. So typically when you don't get a whole lot of snow, what happens to the snowpack? And this is what happens in the Rockies. What happens when you don't get very much snow?
Facets.
Yeah, facets. Have you guys been seeing a lot of facets happening in the lower part of the snowpack?
Just early in the year.
Yeah. And has it been like, is it rounding out yet? What's going on in the lower part of the snowpack? Yeah. Sarah is like, brings the attention to the fact that you're here to learn now. Okay, cool.
I have a question. What's facet?
What's, yeah, that's such a good question. Okay, so as soon as snow falls this nice little snow grain, snow starts changing. And from there, it either goes two directions. It rounds, it sinters on, it catches on, or it starts getting faceted, where it's these sharp, the grains turn sharp. But that all happens with the temperature gradient. So when it's really cold out and you don't have a whole lot of snow, think about the ground. Actually, what temperature is the ground typically? Do you guys know that? 0. So if you only have this much snow and it's minus ridiculous up top, there's a really strong temperature gradient. What are you looking for if you're going to take a thermometer? Every 10 centimeters, what are you looking for in that temperature gradient? A change of
1 degree.
1 degree with every 10 centimeters. So that's a general rule. If it's less than that 1 degree every 10 centimeters, things are going to round on, they're going to sinter. If it's more, that moisture is going to move the snowpack quick, which is going to create those sharp edges. Those sharp edges don't stick together. So the foundation isn't that great. What I'm getting at with this whole thing is, yes, there has been faceting, but generally speaking, it's been fairly warm this year. So we'd expect more. I'm going to talk a little about that because what's tough with all this is there are some anomalous locations where we have that rocky style snowpack. So it's uncommon to this area with that faceting. Another thing I just highlighted today, typically this time of year, cornices would be friggin' massive. They're not as big this year because we just haven't had that much snow. I kind of got technical really quick, didn't I? Let's just talk about from the top down what's going on with the snowpack. So, was anyone actually skiing out there today? How much new snow do we have out there? Do we have that much? Yeah. Like 6 inches? Yeah. Yeah, that's a penis joke. So what do we have? We have up to 25 centimeters blown in. Yeah, I'm being a little bit, no, maybe 10 to 15 centimeters on top. What is that sitting on top of? Yeah, there's crust on south, there's some surface hoar. Are we calling that the Jan 1st surface hoar or the Jan 3rd surface hoar?
I think I saw 26 surface hoar also.
No way,
Yeah,
okay.
on the and 31st surface hoar. I've
Okay.
also seen that.
There's a whole mix
Let's
of
go
stuff.
Jan 1st.
Actually, that's a good question. So you can see I've got some dates allocated to different layers. What does that mean? So when do we allocate a date to a layer? As soon as it's buried. So that's why I was asking. Was it buried on Jan 1st or was it buried today? What's going to end up happening is eventually this year's snowpack's going to turn into a bit of a shit sandwich, and there's going to be a bunch of different numbers to this. But let's just, for tonight, we just go the Jan 1st surface hoar sun crust. And then what do we have? We've got about how much between the Jan 1st surface hoar and the melt freeze crust down on December 5th? How much snow is between that? 70 centimeters? Yeah, I guess I haven't even wrote that there. I got that far into it. So, what happened on December 5th? Can you guys remember? Yeah. But where did it rain? Yeah, super high. If you're in the Monachies, Blanket Chalet, rain to the mountaintops. if you were on the Esplanades or the east side of Rogers Pass, how high did it rain to?
2200.
Yeah, 21, 2200, exactly. And then below that was a significant layer, the December 1st surface hoar. Do you guys remember how reactive that was? We're going to talk a little bit more about this later. And then below, if it's really weak, like the shallower the snow you have, you're probably going to find more facets. The deeper you're going to find snowpack, less facets. So Monashees typically has more snow. If you go, the further you go east, less snow, you're going to find facets in the ground. How are we doing? Does that kind of paint the picture a little bit? I can use that over here. Yeah.
Get that man.
Yes. Can you guys kind of see here? This is Revelstoke. So, is this not on anymore? Check, check. If you went further north and east, you didn't find that rain crust as much. Have you guys noticed digging around, anything above 2,100 meters in Rogers Pass kind of seems like game on? Do I have that right? But if you're in the Monashees, that rain crust is bridging, essentially, what's going on the December 5th surface hoar. Do I have that right? Thanks for the beer. So what's interesting right now is if we look at the bulletin, and this gives us a snapshot of what's happening. I kind of took this morning. Does this really give us an idea of what's happening out there in the snowpack? And why is that? Why doesn't this give us a snapshot?
It's a broad average.
Totally. And Joe Lammers has this great analogy which I'd like to throw out there right now. So the problem with danger ratings is if you can relate it to being a boxer going into a ring to fight his opponent, if you jump into the ring and you get data from your coach that your opponent has considerable or moderate hazard, when you jump in the ring, you have to figure out the characteristics the hard way. You find out that your opponent's got some jab or punches you in the face, and eventually at the end of the fight, you kind of understand those characteristics. But it does give you a general snapshot what your opponent's like. The problem with this is we're not super confident on all those characteristics. The snowpack is still very juvenile. We have to figure out what's happening out there. And so those characteristics are what Avalanche Canada does such a good job at. And this is what us professionals talk about all the time, is like these characteristics being things like where you're gonna find it, which slopes you're gonna find it, chances of avalanches, expected size, those kinds of things. That's truly where the conversation comes in. The snapshot is rad, but that's not the conversation. You don't ski a line because it was 3 times low, right? You ski the line because the avalanche characteristics were X. Does that kind of make sense? I want to dive into the 3 avalanche problems we have right now. It doesn't feel like we have a whole lot going on, but this is the conversation piece. I jumped on Avalanche Canada's, around Revelstoke. There's actually labeling 2 problems, but I'm going to add a 3rd one here. And we're going to kind of go from top down. So when I was reading the Avalanche Canada, I noticed that the 2nd problem was wind slabs. But I'm going to put it as the 1st one because it's sort of like the thing we're feeling underneath our ski tips. So you guys know there's different types of avalanche characteristics. So storm slab, wind slab, I kind of have both here. What's the difference between that 2 actually? So how does a wind slab get created? Wind. Snow falls, gets redistributed. How does a storm slab get created? A storm, yeah. Up front's crushing it right now. Yeah, you want the microphone? Because I can take over the next slide. Generally speaking, storm slab, snow falls, and then as it centers on, it creates that slab. So today, shredding POW, did you find any slab cohesion under your ski tips? No, it was POW. It was Revelstoke Champagne POW. 6 inches of. But when that snow has fallen and redistributed from the wind, those snow grains get broken up and then pushed together into a slab. So maybe on like ridgetop features, that sort of thing, you might find that slab. How big are we expecting those wind slabs to be?
Small.
Probably small. Yeah, you've got the greatest view. Yeah, small, possible, at tree line and alpine. You know, one thing I want to hit on too with wind slabs, obviously you're thinking that the wind is coming from this direction, redistributing it, this is where you're going to find it. Has anyone found that you see wind slabs when it's forecasted on aspects outside of that circle? Or is it always when they're forecasting wind slabs and it's like in the direction that they forecast it? Totally. You know, the reality with the wind slab, what it is just the snow grain's getting broken up. And then it's sintering on really quick once it's broken up. So it can be all aspects, but generally speaking, you're going to find the lead, the other side from where it's blowing. But the point is, it's when you're feeling on your ski like if you're feeling it on your ski tips, that's a wind slab. So it's out there, it's possible, it's small, that's our first problem. Well, what's generally the type of terrain and travel advice that you see in the bulletin when you have this this problem? And you know, this was in the bulletin today. What sort of advice would you give traveling through this problem?
On top of the ridge.
Yeah, stay on top of the ridge. Let's pull it up. Stick to low angle slopes and avoiding large, smooth, and steep features, especially in the alpine. Avoiding recently wind-loaded terrain features, minimizing overhead exposure. This is really where training comes in. Have you guys noticed that? But the more experience you get in the backcountry, you can really start learning to move through the terrain features. You can barely see this. I put in a photo of an avalanche and us just sort of traveling through the terrain here. Obviously, as it gets steeper, that's where you're going to find that problem. But I use this as an example because what a great slope to be going up, a mellow slope to feel the slab cohesion under your ski tips in order to gather that information to ski a slope like this. You feel that cohesion, probably not going to ski that bigger slope. Problem 2. Okay, so Avalanche Canada called it persistent slab, but I kind of dove right into the date. So what is the date to the persistent slab problem? Getting advanced here.
December 1st.
Yeah. And that's down about how deep? Yeah. It's actually going to be big. You guys probably can't see this. 60 to 100 centimeters. And where are we most concerned with that December surface hoar layer? Yeah, above 2,100 meters. If you go further east, those kinds of things. If you're in the Monashees and you feel that pole probing, if you feel that crust, it's not as much of an issue, right? And then what are our terrain and travel advice on that one? Yeah, lose 40 pounds immediately or get out of my office. So the big one with this, and I kind of just alluded to it before, is just like pole probing. You can learn a lot of information. If you're probing down, you feel that sun crust, or sorry, that rain crust, it's not as much of a concern. But if you read the bulletin, anything above 2,100 meters, especially in Rogers Pass, that thing's, you know, it seems like it's game on, right? The last avalanche problem I want to add here is that Rockies, that facet thing I was talking about before, and that's that deep persistent whole snowpack. We haven't seen a whole lot on this yet, but this is something that a lot of us professionals are really nervous about. So this is that Rocky style avalanche where it's not like on a test result, you might not get a whole lot. It's just like when you're walking around the rocks, it's that hollow feeling where it's shallow. That can be like from a thin area, you can trigger it and it can propagate into a thick area where it's that whole snowpack. Those facets don't stick together that well. That's a really bad bed surface for a large avalanche. So we're avoiding those like alpine. That's where you really would find it. Thick to thin areas. So in summary, you guys, the last couple days there's been some small wind slabs up high. Those are fairly manageable. Do you guys notice that when you're feeling it on your ski tips? It's a lot easier to manage and talk about it. What's really hard is when you start getting in persistent slabs and deep persistent where you're not feeling under your ski tips. That's where it's really hard to like manage your human desires in terms of skiing a slope or not, because you're not seeing a whole lot of evidence. When you're touring up and you're watching things like you're going up some test slopes and you're feeling small cracks in your ski tips, it's really easy to be like, oh yeah, that's the wind slab. We should avoid something big and steep. But those deep persistence, that's where you're going to have, or the persistent slab, that's where you're going to have to dig a lot, read a lot, and take what's in the bulletin and apply it to the terrain for what's going on with that persistent slab. I made that really confusing. But let's just summarize the snowpack here. Shallower than average. We're milder than average. Storm and wind slab expected with the new snow. This persistent slab is healing, but it's slowly. What's going to happen is when we get a significant amount of snow, do you guys not think that things are going to be game on? It's kind of in a stagnant position right now.
It's gonna get a little spooky.
Yeah, it's going to get super spooky. But it just hasn't happened yet. Like all of us want like a lot of snow to happen. When that happens, it's going to be on. The forecast, which we'll dive into here next, there's not really like a ton of snow forecasted. We're going to get some, it's going to improve the snow, and then did you guys notice that like the far out forecast is like, it looks like it's going to get really cold and it's going to be high pressure again? So when it actually snows, it's going to be game on, but we're kind of in this sort of moderate confidence with what's going on in the snowpack here for a little bit. So right now as professionals, we're kind of just feeling what's going to happen in that surface snow, and then yeah, the deep persistent and the persistent slabs is where we're going to give respect to. Sick. So guys, we're going to transition really quickly. Actually, you know what I'm going to quickly do is there any more questions of the snowpack? We're on that.
Don't be shy.
You use the word bridging, I think.
Yeah.
Grade cross, and it's cracked on its fit. For the first one that's carried, you talk about it.
Yeah, so I used the word bridging with this rain event that happened. And you know, a lot of professionals hate using that word bridging, but let's just talk about the importance of this. So in the Monashees, the further west you go, it rains so hard, a lot harder than in Rogers Pass and east. When it rained, that snow got saturated, maybe like 10, 15 centimeters, and then it froze solid. On top of that layer of concern, that surface hoar, which is like a window. So as soon as that rain layer froze, it got super solid. So your chance of triggering that when it was super solid from a skier is really hard, as you can imagine. Compared to, think about the Rogers Pass where it never got that rain. It doesn't have that same, like, you know, it rained, even distribution of that solid snow compared to Rogers Pass where it doesn't have that even distribution, that solid layer. So bridging really kind of means that you're staying on top of that known layer there. Can I answer that okay? How did I do with that one, Evan?
Does it affect what happens below in terms of that persistent problem, whatever word we use for that?
So anytime there's a crust like that, it has a really hard time with the moisture moving through it. So it's helped heal it up, but for us in travel, the big thing with that is it's not as much of a concern, like in the Monashees, that sort of thing. Yeah, I didn't really answer that very well. Actually, here's a better thing to ask everyone. What's better with a snowpack? When it snows a lot, or when we have periods of high pressure, things like that?
Snows a
Lots and
lot.
lots.
But why is that? Why is it better when it snows a lot?
The weak layers don't form.
Totally. That's the best thing. What happens in Japan, happens in Alaska, it just snows. It usually happens here. But this period right now where we have these big weird events, big high pressure systems, rain, that's the worst thing for the snowpack. Should we move on to RMR, backcountry? Cool. Well, we can have questions later too.
And there's one slice of pizza for 48 people.
Yeah, we had a budget for 4 pizzas.
All right, we have 4 pizzas on CAPOW.
All right, guys,
And,
hands together for Dan Kilburn and Pro Patrol.
Thanks, Marty. Just quickly before I start, I'm a ski patroller and I love rules. And just if you're new to the Legion, you might not know this, but generally the dudes at the Legion, we take our hats off in a show of respect. And if you know, everyone in Revelstoke always wears hats, but we can take them off if we want to do that, us fellas. Girls, I guess you can wear hats all you want. So that's all I have about rules and about slow skiing and about all that stuff. I'm really here not to do any of that kind of nonsense. Thanks for coming. There's an amazing span of people here, from guides to newcomers to locals to probably people that are new to town, and I just really want to welcome you guys. I'm not gonna talk to you guys about a lot of like rules and closures and all that nonsense. I want to just talk about how to access the backcountry and some of those things as a ski tour that you might have a little bit of headache about how our program runs up there. Because I've been there. I remember when I first met Marty, I was like 18 at Lake Louise. I was like poaching close terrain. I was getting my pass pulled, and here I am now. I haven't done it yet, but I'll do it. So we're going to talk about accessing the backcountry of Revelstoke Mountain Resort. Just really quickly, like our avalanche control program there, it's like, like 5 centimeters, 10 centimeters of snow and some wind. Does anyone know, like, if you have mod winds, 5 centimeters, like what's the max amount of snow you could like think about being distributed into those lee slopes? Anyone? 5 times that 5 centimeters, right? So now you're talking about like a 25 centimeter wind slab. So if you're ever up there and you're like getting off the gondola and you're like, it's like buckle deep snow and you're like, these guys are doing avalanche control today, come on. That's why, like it's because the wind's up high. And I guarantee you, like every day we put that boot pack in for you. I promise I'll put it in for you. But that's what we're doing up there. We're not trying to like hose anybody. We're not saving powder. I used to be a skier. I love skiing. Now I just ski in straight lines all the god dang time. So that's what I do up there. That's what avalanche control is for me. But it's so people can get rad out there. Like free skiing is something that's really important to me. Free snowboarding too, if you're into that kind of weird stuff. But like I like being the big terrain. These guides out here, they don't get to ski. They're like doing this. Like we're skiing up at the resort. We're going steep. We're in there all the time, and that's what we're trying to do up there. But I'm sorry if we ever cause you guys headaches. I also apologize for my PowerPoint skills. I sent a PowerPoint, I thought, but you gotta put an attachment in an email. I didn't do that. So, carrying forward, bear with me here. So anyway, our avalanche control program, that's what I want to talk about. We start at the top, we kind of work our way down, like lower North Bowl, kind of, sweet spot down. That's like our bread and butter, we'll get it open. Lemming line, funnel fence, like up to 3 bears, that stuff, maybe a question mark. But that's a question mark, like, we're talking 40, 50 centimeter days. That's days where we're doing avalanche control on the bank, or we're doing avalanche control on, like, snow rodeo. You guys know snow rodeo? Yeah, we do avalanche control on there sometimes. So, anomalous days, like, can I swear?
It's live streamed.
Yeah.
Feel
Shoot gets frigged up when big atmospheric events happen. And like that's what we're dealing with out there on those days, and I really appreciate everyone like respecting that. I am going to talk a little bit like about some of our closures, just accessing some terrain on those kind of maybe somewhat anomalous days. I know it causes a bit of a headache. I'm probably not going to be the most empathetic person about it, but just bear with us here. We're working out there. I was working out there today. Can I just do that? All right, sweet. Okay, this is the first thing I want to talk about the accessing of backcountry from Revelstoke Mountain Resort. And it's the conical shape of our mountain. The cone. And I only bring that up because people like drop in off Sub-Peak, off like the peak of Mackenzie, and they end up, do you guys know where Greeley is? Like, like they end up way out there. Or they end up like almost at Greenslide, like way south, like there's this huge span of area that you can like access from up there. I've skied out to Greeley before just to see what it was all about. You don't do that, like, you're standing at the top of, just so you guys know, like I want to talk about like terrain, I'm going to give you names, I want to show photos, but like, you're dropping in a highway bowl there, like, do you have both skins? Like these things happen out there. And then the other thing is, like we're just this like little old ski patrol, we don't make much money. We're technically like we're not going outside the boundary to help people. Like we do, obviously, but technically we're not supposed to do that. So if you're out there and you're like, I'm a friggin' free rider, and you just ski the same way inbounds as you do outside of the boundary, and you don't have any plan to rescue yourself and to contact us or contact search and rescue, like, it's on you. Y'all. All y'all. So just like, I want to keep that in mind. Like, when I first met Marty, I was like chasing him around, skiing at Lake Louise. Like, you guys ski in between the chutes, like the rocks in between the chutes. Like, you guys ski crazy stuff in the resort. I've seen it. But I really just want to like remind you that when you leave that boundary, like, you know, it's a helicopter. It's potentially like dragging your buddy out by a tarp. Like, these are pretty big consequences of like hucking a cliff, blowing your knee. So just, you know, take that for what it is. But this is us. This is me, Stoke Top today, hanging out. Wait, oh, I got this. Stoke Top today. If I dropped in, boom. I'm almost at the hot springs. All right. Make sense, everyone? Keep it narrow. Keep it on. I really wish this was a little bit bigger, but you know the first thing people do, they get off the Stoke chair, they're like, I'm a backcountry enthusiast. And I'm going to Montana Bowl. And I'm going out south. I got no gear, we're gonna build a jump. I was there, I've been there. It's awesome. So, you know, like you get off Stoke Top, you cruise out the cat track, you walk up to the windsock, you put your skis on, you put your skins on, you're out, and you're out into like, you know, if you're Rogers Pass skier, like you're out into the Alpine, like you didn't have to walk through Balloon Pass, you're just there, you're ready to rock and roll. So, you know, I want people to keep that in mind. Anybody ski Montana Bowl here every now and then? Anybody? Yeah, a few folks. Anybody ever like go out there, they're like, I'm going to the windsock, putting my skins on, and there's a gate in your way? Yes. Like we call it Fort Al. Al Roberts is our forecaster at the moment, and it's Fort Al. We vex we things out. Because we drive a cat out there, we undercut this like pretty big south-facing slope. And the only reason we ever close that is because we're going out there to put a case charge in. Case charge is like, we take a bamboo, we hang this like bag of explosives on it, we blow it up, and it shakes the whole thing. And we're hoping to like that undercut is going to pull out some of that slab from South Bowl. And to tell you the truth, I've never seen it happen, but it's like, I know it's like causes great hairs in ski patrollers often. Same thing, like we're going into like spring, we're going to that diurnal cycle, things are warming up. We might close that area just because our South Bowl there, like south side off Sub Peak, is like this pretty big terrain. It's not quite in that like 38-degree world of like steep avalanche terrain, but there are some spots, and I think it keeps our forecasters up at night. Anyway, so just as you're going in there, if you ever see that gate closed, just shoot down to the next gate, slide out to the boundary, throw your skins on, and be like, ski mountaineer time. And just rip up 5 minutes, you'll be in the same spot, I guarantee it. And if you're ever there, you can say like, friggin' Dan. But we do really appreciate you guys respecting that closure. And there's just Montana Bowl, it's kind of cool, you know, like there's big Montana face, you get avalanches in there sometimes. I've seen it. But there's also some great skiing. And then I just wanted to add like one more little thing to Montana Bowl. There's some cool terrain in here, and like it just goes forever, like out to Ghost Peak if you ever wanted to go camping a night or something like that. It's an awesome place to go cruise out there. All your gear got dragged up like, you know, 56, 20 feet of elevation, and you just slide out there. Imagine how much beer you could bring camping. We do have an event out there this year, and you guys are backcountry enthusiasts, so I just want to like throw it out there to you. At some point, just forgive me, I messed up my PowerPoints here, but there's a little bit of terrain right here. It's called Bar Fight, and that's where our natural selection event is going to be this year. It's wild in there. There's some huge airs, like it's cool venue, but at some point this winter, it's going to get like roped off, signed off. You're going to be like ski touring in the backcountry, and hit a sign, and it's going to be like closed. That's for that comp. It's for Travis Rice to beat all his buddies in like a really cool snowboard contest. And I do think it's going to be really cool. So, just like for now, if you ever see that closure, we just ask you to respect it like any other closure. You guys are all, multiple users out there in the backcountry. But that's why that closure might be there. Seems pretty fair. Up until then, I'm not sure I'm supposed to be saying this, but I'm pretty sure it's fair game. But if you guys just would maybe not share too much of like the bangers on the social medias. Because I think the natural selection dudes want to share their bangers first. So if you're, filming that 23-24 edit, just save it till the fall. I did see a hand shoot up there at some point. I probably covered it, but if you want to.
Yeah, I went camping at Ghost Peak.
Oh, did you?
Last
Sick.
week. Yeah, we didn't get to the peak, but we camped near it.
I wanted to go shoot some fireworks off out of there on New Year's Eve, but I got sick, and I like to think I'm sick all the time, but I was extra sick that weekend.
But this is the weird thing. We were in our tent on Thursday night, and there was a rave going on.
Huh?
At Ghost Peak. I don't know who it was.
I would just like to make it clear that I don't approve of raving. I really like rock and roll. You guys do it that way you will. This is just a little nicer shot of the Montana zone. And if you guys ever, I feel like a bunch of ski patrollers, also in the past, I feel like ski patroller Revelstoke's a little bit salty. But if you guys ever want to come and ask questions or look at our terrain photos or whatever at Stoke Bump or Ripper Bump, come in, say hi, buy a t-shirt, whatever. But I really, I want to present an open, inclusive world there. We're just ski patrollers. We're like you guys. We just like skiing. We get paid not very much. Anyway, Montana. The one, I'm kind of a little bit discombobulated here, but does anyone know what the catcher's mitt is?
Oh yeah.
If you're new here, there's this.
Is it a ski run?
It could be a ski run. It's certainly a snowboard run. I've seen that. So, at the resort, let's go back to the conical shape of our mountain. You can cut me off if I'm going too long here too. If you go past a few certain points, and the catcher's mitt is one of those points. So we have our ninja traverse, and that's an inbounds run. It's got a rope. We run check it. Below that, through the alders and the trees, sometimes the powder, maybe a few facets down there because it's thin. Maybe it rained all the way through, who knows. But in there, there's a fire cut line. And that brings you back to a run called Fast Fred's. If you go below that, it's really heinous travel. Generally, people who come to things like this, know that. They have maps, they have Avenza maps, they have all sorts of things. But people go down there all the time, and if it's a really powdery time, they're gonna have they have a hard time. They fall in creeks. They come flying out of onto whatever the Catherwood there, and they're just sweaty, and it's a bad time. So I would just say those signs that we have up, they're don't go below this, death is imminent. Man, I hate to get real on you guys, but friggin' death is kind of imminent out there. It's happened. People die out there. And then the other thing is, I'll just do a little, you guys ever heard of a Philadelphia hot pack? That is what happened when a few folks went out of bounds, and their friend decided to let them know that it was going to keep them warm if they pooped themselves. It didn't happen, but yeah. It's, colloquial.
Yeah, it really did happen.
People in Whistler are always pooping on stuff. It's crazy.
It's warm, it's cold.
All right, I'm sick of Southside. I do think, South, in the spring, just pay attention to how freaking hot it is. And if it's not that hot, don't call kids out for making jumps out there, everybody. I don't know if you saw that meme, but I don't like it. Anyway, see this? This is the bread and butter. This is our world here on the avalanche control. And I wanted to just show this kind of zone kind of down here is a little bit of more what I wanted to show, but I put the wrong photo in there. But Greeley trees. You guys ever see Greeley trees?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Greeley trees, I think for anybody in this room, would be an awesome place to go ski touring. I think it's pretty mellow. I think it's pretty safe. I think the access when all of our terrain is open is easy. And when all our terrain is closed, you put your skins on and you go for a nice walk. And you can get some really nice gladed skiing, tree line, maybe just below tree line skiing. and you put your skins back on, you walk back to the resort, and you're out of there. That's what I wanted to bring up in this slide. Every now and then, hang on, let me see what the next slide is. Nope, back it up. So this zone right here, we call it the waterfall, and if you've ever been skiing over there, it's hard to find. There's also the pink and the stink. And there's some runs over there, but we close those sometimes. We have like a little rope, so if you were like, ski from the top of the river chair, you ski down, you put your skins on, you start walking, you see a rope closure, it's like facing up into that waterfall. It's because we throw bombs in there. And when we have people in areas where we're throwing bombs, it like slows everything down and things don't open up as fast. And you know, the last person we caught in there was a ski patroller on their day off, like walking out there. But like, if you're there and that closure's there, like just hang a Louie, walk through the trees, and like I really don't think it's gonna take you that much longer. But that's why that rope's up there, because there's like this kind of like hanging snowfield right above that waterfall, and it does produce, you know, size 1.5, but it would really suck to bury someone down there with a bomb, or maybe, like I'm not a very good shot and I'll throw it too far sometimes and I could get you. So if you're ever down there and that's what's going on, that's why that is. There's also a spot down there, we call it Jerry Lake. Because people go outside the boundary after like doing all this great skiing and they end up at this lake and they like need help, but you can also just boot pack out of there, but it's a really good reference point. We land helicopters there for rescues. We literally did it yesterday. And I just like, it's a really good spot to know. So that there's like Gree Lakes kind of down here. This is like the playground over here. Those are really great places to ski. It's pretty safe generally. And I want you guys to know that. Now, everybody, I'm getting hard here.
Get hard.
We have another thing that we call the Idiot's Traverse at the ski hill. Oh yeah. And I'm sorry, I wanna bring everybody in, I do. I've been an idiot in my life, so I'm with you. But people ski, they're like off Stoke Chair, they do a traverse all the way over to here, to the notch, they go up to Gracious Ridge and they look out that boundary like, sick. And then they proceed to just traverse, like this. They traverse all the way down, all the way down. They just traverse the whole slope all the way to Greeley Bowl. And that traverse has door one. Well, it has the BFD, the big freaking drop. It's got all 4 doors. It's got this hanging snow slope that only Insanity people ski. It's got brown shorts. It's got all this giant terrain of the spill milk, thumbs up. You're just crossing under all this stuff for a freaking traverse. So I know none of y'all would be doing that because you're smart individuals and you like skiing. Fall line. I just wanted to bring it up. You can share with your friends. You know, maybe hear some people from Quebec or Ontario out in the bar and you're like, see those people at the idiot traverse? And I'm not talking about the idiot at the bar here. All right. Can everyone just agree to that one? Yeah. All right. Now, have you guys, anybody skied any of this big gnarliness? Yeah! Hell yeah. I didn't know what I was going to talk about here, but we're 1-1-1, low at the ski hill right now. That's what we're rocking with. Like I'm an avalanche technician there. I don't like first aid. I like to do avalanche control. I haven't been doing any. But it might be a time when people are getting into this world, you know? It's a really, really cool spot. Like I think brown shorts, you guys ever seen that book, like 50 Greatest Lines in North America? It's a cool line, right? Aim or cooler, friggin' cool. Brown shorts should be in there. Like that thing is so sick. You just like, you get to walk, like chairlift up there. It's so cool. But I want to talk about some of that terrain just a little bit. This is it. This is the other side. Anybody here when the Freeride World Tour was here? Like the Freeride World Tour guys were terrified of this thing. Like nobody wanted it. And this is where you go. You come off the Stoke Chair. You hike up Sub Peak, my best friend. From Sub Peak, you cruise along and you hike again. And then you're up at the top of the doors. You walk across all the doors. You want to know what happens on the doors? People trigger cornices up there because they go too close to the side. So doors, cornices, remember that. Then you walk up Mackenzie Peak, and you're standing there, top of the Selkers, king of the Selkers, queen of the Selkers. You're loving life. Then you have to traverse, / like side slip, maybe heel edge, maybe toe edge, who knows?
Too much heel.
You gotta get down to brown shorts. Just this little nugget right there. The whole time you woke up, you're thinking about brown shorts. You're going up the gondola, brown shorts. You're going up there, brown shorts, brown shorts, brown shorts. The east face, that's what we need to pay attention to, everybody. You know, like you want to ski that thing in POW, you want to jump in there, like flash it, Candide style, whatever. When it's good, that east face might be like, 20, 25 centimeters new snow on there from wind loading. That might not be in brown shorts, but that might be across that big ass start zone. And people have messed that up, it's like people took their Jerry boyfriend in there and he caught an edge and fell to the bottom. That's a huge, huge big deal. Pro skiers have fallen to the bottom of that thing.
Yeah.
And I just want to we just want you guys to give it a little reverence when you're going in there. Sometimes there's like a trail in there, it's sick. Sometimes you're full pucker. And maybe if you're full pucker, it's maybe a time to ski a more mellow line. Enter Highway Bowl. Highway Bowl is sick. That is give me a chairlift in there, I'm game, it's sweet. It's so hard to get out of there. Anybody climbed out of there?
Yeah.
Yeah, where'd you go? Which way did you go?
All the way around.
All the way around. Well, all the way around, see this little number right here? It's called the Holger Slide Path. It's a frequent flyer. It's a big guy. What about up here? Where are you gonna go? Are you gonna skin back up? Yeah, people do that, but last year, a guy broke his leg in there in an avalanche. This is big terrain, and then once you're down there, it's big terrain to get out. Just want to remind folks of that. I don't want to put you off of skiing this sweet ass shit. Sorry.
Live stream.
It's really this is we have amazing terrain at Revelstoke. I really love it. We have amazing snowpack. I really love it. But we also have a place where you can get in trouble, and people get in trouble a lot there. We're pulling out ropes. We're pulling out vacuum mattresses. We're getting helicopters, flying under helicopters. This is the real stuff of ski touring here. And I just want people to remember that. Just because it's a hop and a step out of the resort. Would you go up and ski tour all the way up the Blue and then hop in there, any given day and just drop into STS Core? Probably not, but people do that up here. It happens. So I just want to remind people of where they're going, what they're doing. You step outside that boundary, and you need a few things. What are a few things you might need as soon as you step out that boundary? Anybody? Yeah.
Drag bag.
No, little things, just little things. I'm talking a transceiver. What else? Shovel probe. Hell yeah.
Skins.
Ski partners. You guys ever heard this analogy about a ski partner? It's like a first date. You don't take a first date to Mexico. Like this? That's Mexico. Be ready for that, What else? What else might you want to take?
First date.
A plan. People drop in there and they're they don't even have skins. A plan, know where you're going. Get a map. The map of the ski hill ain't the map you need. Right? And then finally, communication. And as soon as you drop in here, you got no comms. You got no cell phone. So maybe you need a radio. Maybe you need a spot. But have that plan. Tell people where you're going. And choose good partners. I really want to emphasize that. They'll save your life. And I see it. I don't think I have anything else. Other than there is some other backcountry terrain below the Stellar chair. Below the Ripper chair. below the Ripper Chair we call Madison Avenue, and it's just this like ice fall of gnarliness where to rescue people in there we need ice screws and ice climbing gear. I ain't into that. You guys ever been ice climbing? It sucks. So I just, you know, like if you're gonna drop into the world of the alders and the cedars, like, you know, be good at skiing in the trees, have a plan, and know it'll probably take you a little bit longer. And you know what? Maybe throw the rad line or the rope in your pack because you might need to roll over yourself off a cliff. Now, in my presentation, I had any questions or additions. Like, you guys probably ski outside of the boundary way more than I get to. But, like, does anyone have any, like, other thoughts or things I missed or, you know, ideas about that back? Hell yeah, brother.
Will you be doing more admin control on the natural selection area? Will you post it beforehand? Or is it
I think, like, at this point, we've been doing a little bit of ski cutting, like, traveling through that terrain. And by the time we're like doing full-on control or ever using explosives in there, we'll have the closure fully up, and we'll probably have to sweep that area first.
But it's not safer.
Will you be posting it anywhere, like beforehand? Or
Not really, because we're not. We'll do the control like pretty close to the event, and we're not controlling it for like recreational skiing. And that's the other thing. Like we bomb the doors, we bomb brown shirts, we bomb some stuff outside of our boundary. Like outside the south boundary there, we'll bomb that with a helicopter sometimes. And that's only to just protect our like boundary lines. We're not doing that to like what we do in the ski world, you know? And just keep that in your back pocket if you're ever out there. Like, it's good evidence, like we throw a bunch of big, you know, 13 kilogram bombs on a slope and it doesn't avalanche, so it's good information for you. But I will never be like, yeah, we bombed that, it's good to go. And I will 100% say that in powder salt. Discipline, you know, mania. All those big lines in the resort, I'll be like 100% get in it. Out there, like one bomb, I'm not. I don't know. Anybody else? Questions, comments? Yeah.
Dan, one of the things that you were alluding to this, but it's so easy to get into the backcountry off of the ski area. I think people forget they're in the backcountry.
Yeah.
And I think that's the takeaway. Like what you're trying to say is that you're not controlling that environment. I think people just have to remember where they're going and that the help is not just a phone call away to the patrol.
Yeah, and that really, I think that's like the big takeaway here is like our closures are important because they slow the program down. You know, when you leave that boundary, you're in charge of self-rescue, whatever that means. And we will help. We'll help as much as we can, but sometimes our help might be bombing the slope above the avalanche you got in so we can get in there and dig you out. And that sucks. That sucks. So this is like, you know, it's fun. But there's huge terrain out there. This is like video freeride world tour terrain. And we just need to give it a little reverence. Now, speaking of reverence, everyone just like close your eyes for a second, take a deep breath in for me. In 2024, I think we should all be practicing acceptance. Marty talked a lot of technical nonsense about the snowpack. I'm from the Rockies, Marty's from the Rockies, we be loving this. I went skiing at Lake Louise, I get so many freaking rocks. Acceptance. So, Ular, it snows a little bit, it snows a lot, doesn't really matter, we ski the shit out of it. Huh? Acceptance.
Yeah.
And that's all I got. That's all I want to talk about today is all those things. Thanks very much, everyone. Thanks, Sarah. Thanks, Marty.
We're going to take a quick breather, you guys. I'd like to hit on a couple more things, but grab another beer. Sarah's psyched. We got some pizza. We got some cool prizes. Yeah, go pee, grab a beer. Throw some high fives out there. That'd be a good idea.
Yeah.
But let's be back in 10 minutes.
Maybe introduce the guides in the room that can get their brains picked.
Oh yeah, you guys, the people that are here, Steve Chambers is here, he's one of our guides.
Steve Chambers!
Joe is one of our guides. We have Liam here, one of our guides. Sarah, who else is here?
Mikey's here.
Mikey's here, one of our guides. I don't know. Meet people!
Ask the boys, Dad.
I'll get back on the microphone in like 10-15 minutes.
I got this. Great, how are you doing? Welcome home. It's all right. No, she's out. It's funny to sound like yeah, I'm Thank you, Brandon. Yes. Janet, David's house. So open presents with Ruben and Raven in the morning. So it's just Spirit of Christmas live, and then I just smoked chickens, made a hazelnut torch, brought it to David and Janice. Went to Aaron and Michelle, who went to their house for karaoke with their daughter Ediger. She learned songs like piano, so we did piano karaoke together. And then went to David and Janice. It was so nice, so wholesome. Like, yeah, just great. David, like, no one was really sending it, and I didn't want to send. You know, there's 4 people who get really rowdy and want to be rowdy. Like, I wasn't being rowdy. David's like, I'm being rowdy. And I'm like, no. What? I'm like, it's in the heart, actually. It was live, there's no cast, it's Christmas Day, like, it's in the heart. That's good. It is. Totally. And then well, yeah, we're live recording now, so it's going to be on the Snowpack website. Yeah, like probably after this we'll upload it, maybe tomorrow you'll see it on there, and yeah, you can figure it out. And then anytime you want, you can email the controllers at the Hill to get sort of high resolution out of the area.
Classic. And I was already making fun of myself.
It was really nice. And then shoes, lots of new Bella. It's a holiday. It's just a day off after Christmas. Yeah, so it's just a day off after Christmas. Yeah. Yeah, it's more just like rest. And then,
Right now, it's kind of like it's awesome. And that's
Can we stop it for now?
But I don't